latitude 39 north, 35, longitude 105 west, 05, September 1st, 1986 at 1:06 a.m. This is the raw temporal and spatial data for a subject named Vanessa Hennice. When these coordinates are processed through the system's geometric rules, they generate this schematic. This is a natal chart. It is a multivariable data visualization, a blueprint designed to map specific drives and behaviors through geometry. To understand how this engine predicts psychology, we have to strip the model down to its first principles and rebuild its mechanics layer by layer. This baseline architecture operates on the premise that localized time and space correlate directly to human psychological outcomes. The first layer consists of the 12 houses, localized spatial domains that divide the sky based on the exact moment of birth. Every chart is oriented by a single primary point, the ascendant, which marks the boundary of the first house. In this case study, the ascendant sits in the sign of Cancer. In this system, Cancer provides the qualities of nurturing and self-protection. When those self-protective qualities are applied to the ascendant, the lens for one's outer life, the system predicts a personality where professional ambition is driven by a deep need for family security. This same symbolic logic dictates a soft, easily bruised interior. The model assumes a private facade is necessary to shield the subject's inherent vulnerability from the world. The ascendant acts as the structural foundation, establishing the specific frequency through which the subject's entire life path is oriented. With the structure established, we introduce the active variables, 10 planets, each representing a core psychological drive. The Sun represents the primary variable of identity. In this chart, the Sun sits in Virgo. This sign modifies the core identity, filtering it through a drive for efficiency, conscientiousness, and a need to be useful within a larger system. The Moon, representing the variable for instinct, is placed here, near the ascendant. Because this moon also falls in Cancer, it reinforces the emotional baseline of the ascendant, creating a nature that relies heavily on unconscious, instinctual shifts in atmosphere. This illustrates how the model holds multiple drives at once, a meticulous Virgo identity operating alongside a highly reactive, emotional Cancer instinct. The core rule here is that houses and signs act as permanent behavioral filters, altering how each core planetary drive is expressed. The internal web of lines represents the aspects. These are geometric vectors that dictate the flow or friction between the planetary variables. We can isolate a specific point of tension, the sesquisquare, an exact 135-degree angle. This vector connects the Sun, identity, to the lunar nodes, which represent the subject's destiny and past experiences. The system's rule for this specific angle is that it generates structural tension, often manifesting as compulsive behavior or power struggles. For Vanessa, this results in an unconscious, stubborn friction between the ego's need for security and the public roles she is required to assume. The mathematical friction between these points is what generates human complexity. It turns a list of traits into a dynamic system of internal conflict. We have analyzed the fixed, static profile of the natal chart, but this complex model also accounts for the progression of active time. This is the mechanism of transits. Currently orbiting planets lock into geometric alignments with the subject's fixed natal positions. If we move the chronological slider to the window between 2019 and 2021, we can see the system's predictive logic in motion. In January 2019, the transiting planet Jupiter forms a conjunction, a direct alignment, with the subject's natal Saturn. This forces a collision between Jupiter's drive for expansion and Saturn's rules of restriction and time. The system predicts this collision will force the subject to overcome self-imposed limits and expand her professional framework. Transits transform the chart into a functional, predictive engine that maps human development over a lifetime. The natal chart now functions as a legible, interconnected logical framework. This singular geometry generates specific outputs for life path, identity, and values, while providing a timeline for dynamic change. The system relies on the idea that isolated data points of time and space interact in a closed loop to produce a holistic diagnosis. Beneath the esoteric symbols lies a rigid syntax, a metaphysical schematic attempting to structure the chaos of human psychology into readable geometry.